days, and there could be a government shutdown as early as this weekend unless the appropriations bills are passed. What's going on? Why is Congress so dysfunctional?
Well, this dysfunction seems to be business as usual. How many times have we gone through this in the last couple of years? It sort of is to be routine. You know, at the last minute, they go down to the wire and they negotiate up to the bitter end, always trying to get one angle over the other one. So I don't think the government's going to shut down. It hasn't happened in a long, long time. So I don't think it's in the interest of either party to do it. So they'll probably come up with some compromise at midnight, you know, and settle the argument.
But it does send a horrible message when various agencies of the federal government are told, get ready. So-called non-essential personnel may be out of work as early as Saturday or Sunday. I mean, it sends an awful message out there that the people in Washington can't get their act together. I'm just saying. But if you disagree with me, go ahead.
Right. No, I think the problem is that the people in Washington that I know don't admit that we have a serious crisis on our hand, a financial crisis, and they don't know how bad it is because we're bankrupt, and yet we're preparing ourselves through the Federal Reserve to bail out all of Europe. And there's no money, and the debt is the problem. So they're up against the wall, and nobody wants to cut anything. But if they knew how bad it was, they would cut, and they would start living within our means, and that means looking at all the budget. But no, they're going to delay it. They think it's a football game, and they're going to play it and see who's going to get the best edge in the next election to see who can maintain or gain power. And they haven't changed their ways, but they won't admit the necessary admission of that we are bankrupt and we better do something about it, or this condition in our country and throughout the world financial system is going to get much worse.
Let me go through a couple of the issues on the agenda right now. Increasing taxes, unless action is taken, the payroll tax cut will go away. The tax rates for 160 million Americans will go up. Where do you stand on extending the payroll tax cut for another year?
Oh, I want to extend it because I see that as a tax increase. And the system isn't run like it should be. You know, we're supposed to have money in the bank and have a trust fund. That doesn't exist. So it's all been spent into the general revenues. And so many of these funds from Social Security has been spent overseas. So I want to pay for it. That's the whole thing. But I don't consider paying for it by punishing one group and taking that money and giving it to the other group. So I'd pay for it, extend the tax credit cut, and pay for it by overseas spending. For instance, why are we going to pretend that we're leaving Iraq and we really aren't, and we're going to maintain the biggest embassy in the world and have 17,000 personnel there that are contractors making twice as much as our military? You can save billions of dollars doing that. So yes, we have to address it. This is the reason nobody wants to give up a nickel on this overseas expenditures, and that's the best place to cut in order to save our system and take care of our Social Security beneficiaries and the health care, the people who have become so dependent. But I have no idea why they won't consider this. And evidently the lobbyists for spending this money overseas and for the military is so powerful that neither Democrats nor Republicans want to really talk about cutting overseas spending. Bring troops home. That would save billions of dollars. So the money is there, but this idea that you have to raise taxes on the rich in order to pay for the payroll tax cut makes no sense, and that's why they're arguing about it.